The alarm screamed through every corridor of the sunrise dawn. Red lights flashed across the metal walls, painting everything in blood-colored shadows. Jiwoo ran through the engineering bay, his boots clanging against the floor panels. Smoke poured from the main engine housing. The ship was dying. "We need more power to life support," someone shouted over the chaos. Jiwoo's hands moved fast across the control panel. His fingers were already burned from touching hot metal, but he didn't stop. The colony ship held 3,000 people, men, women, children. They were all counting on the engineering crew to keep them alive. "Rerouting power from the auxiliary systems," Jiwoo called out. Sweat dripped down his face. The temperature in the engine room had climbed to dangerous levels. The ship had been on a simple supply run. They were supposed to pass through safe space, pick up food and medicine from the trading station, and return home. But something had gone wrong. An engine malfunction, then an explosion. Now they were stranded in the outer rim territories, far from any help. "Jiwoo!" His friend Daeho's voice crackled through his headset. Daeho was the ship's doctor. "We're picking up a distress signal. It's close." "We can't help anyone right now," Jiwoo said. His hands never stopped working. "We're barely keeping ourselves alive. It's a small pod. Maybe 1 or 2 people. They're right outside our position." Jiwoo closed his eyes for a moment. He thought about ignoring it. They had their own problems, but he couldn't. His mother had raised him better than that. She used to say that helping others was what made humans special, even when it was hard. Especially when it was hard. "Send me the coordinates," Jiwoo said. 10 minutes later, he stood in the docking bay. The captain had refused to authorize a rescue. Too dangerous, too risky. They needed all their resources for their own people. Jiwoo understood. But he was going anyway. He put on his spacesuit and checked the oxygen levels. 40 minutes of air. That would have to be enough. The docking bay doors opened slowly, revealing the black emptiness of space. Stars scattered across the darkness like thrown diamonds. The escape pod floated about 50 meters from the ship. It was small and damaged. Scorch marks covered its hull. Jiwoo used his suit's thrusters to move toward it. His breath sounded loud in his helmet. "In and out, stay calm." As he got closer, he could see through the small window. 2 figures inside, one large, one very small. His heart beat faster. He grabbed onto the pod and attached a towing cable. Then he pulled them both back toward the sunrise dawn. The trip back felt like it took hours. His air supply kept dropping. 30 minutes, 20, 15. Finally, the docking bay doors closed behind him. Air rushed back into the chamber. He could breathe again. Jiwoo opened the escape pod's hatch. The smell hit him first. Burned metal and something else, blood. A woman lay inside, her body curled around something. She was not human. Her skin had a pale blue tint. Her face was longer than a human's, with large dark eyes. Her breathing came in short, painful gasps. In her arms, she clutched a baby. The infant was tiny, with the same blue-tinted skin as her mother. But her eyes were different. They held a mix of colors Jiwoo had never seen before. "Help," the woman whispered in broken standard language. Her voice was weak. "Please, my Hana." Jiwoo carefully lifted the baby from her arms. The infant started crying immediately. The sound was different from human babies, higher and more musical. But the fear in it was the same. "I've got her," Jiwoo said softly. "You're both safe now." Medical teams rushed into the docking bay. Daeho led them. His eyes went wide when he saw the woman. "She's Velthori," Daeho said. "I've only seen them in medical texts. They're from the other side of the galaxy." "Can you help her?" Jiwoo asked. He held the crying baby carefully. She was so light, so fragile. "I'll try," Daeho said. But his face said what his words didn't. It didn't look good. They moved the woman onto a stretcher. As the medical team started to take her away, she reached out and grabbed Jiwoo's hand. Her grip was weak but desperate. Her dark eyes locked onto his. "Please," she whispered again. Then she said something in her own language. It sounded like music and sadness mixed together. Her hand fell away as they carried her off. Jiwoo stood there holding the baby. Hana, that's what her mother had called her. The infant had stopped crying. She stared up at him with those strange, beautiful eyes. She didn't understand what was happening. She just knew her mother was gone. "What do I do with her?" Jiwoo asked. A woman in a colonial uniform approached. Her name was Minji. She worked with refugees. "I'll take the child to the medical bay. We'll keep her there until we can figure out what to do." Will the mother survive? Jiwoo asked. Minji's face was sad. I don't know. Even if she does, it could be weeks or months before she wakes up. The Velthori are a warrior species. They were recently defeated in a major war. This woman probably fled with her child. She might be the only Velthori survivor for thousands of light years. Jiwoo looked down at the baby in his arms. Hana had fallen asleep. Her tiny chest moved up and down with each breath, so small, so helpless, and her mother was dying. The captain is angry with you, Minji said quietly. You disobeyed orders. Used emergency fuel for the rescue. I know, Jiwoo said. He didn't care. He would do it again. Later that night, Jiwoo visited the medical bay. The Velthori woman lay in a bed surrounded by machines. Tubes and wires connected to her body. Daeho stood next to her, checking readings. She's in a coma, Daeho said. Her injuries are severe. She might not wake up. And if she doesn't? Jiwoo asked. Then her daughter is an orphan in a ship full of strangers. Jiwoo looked at the woman's face. Even unconscious, even injured, she looked peaceful. Like she was finally resting after a long fight. He wondered what she had gone through. What she had lost. How far she had traveled to keep her daughter safe. He reached out and gently touched her hand. I'll watch over Hana, he whispered. I promise. The woman didn't respond. The machines beeped steadily. Jiwoo left the medical bay and walked back to his quarters. He was exhausted. His burns hurt. His body ached. But he couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about that tiny baby. About her mother's desperate plea. Please, that one word carried so much weight. It was a mother's final request. A prayer to a stranger. Trust given in the darkest moment. Jiwoo lay in his bed and stared at the ceiling. Outside his window, stars moved slowly past. They were so far from home, so far from safety, but somehow in all this darkness and danger, he had found something to protect. Someone who needed him. He didn't know what would happen tomorrow. He didn't know if the Velthori woman would survive. He didn't know how to take care of an alien baby, but he knew one thing with absolute certainty. He would keep his promise. The medical bay was cold. Jiwoo stood outside the transparent wall and watched the small bassinet inside. Baby Hana lay there crying. She had been crying for 3 hours. The medical staff looked tired and frustrated. She won't eat, one of the nurses said. We've tried everything. Daeho walked up beside Jiwoo. His friend looked like he hadn't slept in days. The problem is that we don't know what Velthori babies need. Our food might be wrong for her. The temperature might be wrong. The lights might be too bright or too dark. Everything might be hurting her. Where's her mother? Jiwoo asked, still in a coma. We're keeping her alive, but she's not getting better. She's not getting worse either. She's just stuck in between. Jiwoo watched Hana cry. The sound broke his heart. She was so small and scared. She didn't understand where her mother went. She just knew she was alone. Minji appeared next to them. The refugee coordinator had dark circles under her eyes. I have some news about the child. Good news? Jiwoo asked. Not really. There are no other Velthori survivors on this ship or any nearby ships. The war destroyed most of their communications. We can't contact their government. Even if we could, I don't know if they would come for one baby. So what happens to her? Daeho asked. Minji sighed. We'll have to put her in medical stasis. It's a kind of sleep. She won't grow or change. We can keep her safe until we find proper caregivers for her species. You mean freeze her? Jiwoo said. His voice was sharp. It's the kindest option. She's suffering now. In stasis, she won't feel anything. When we finally find her people, we can wake her up. And if you never find them? Minji didn't answer. She didn't have to. They all knew the truth. The Velthori had lost their war. Their civilization was scattered across the galaxy. Finding them might take years. Or forever. Jiwoo looked at Hana again. She was still crying. Her little fists waved in the air. Don't put her in stasis, he said. Jiwoo, Minji started. I'll take care of her. Give her to me. Everyone stared at him. Daeho spoke first. You don't know anything about taking care of babies, especially alien babies. Then I'll learn, Jiwoo said. You have information about her species, right? Medical files? Cultural data? Some, Daeho admitted. But it's very basic. The Velthori didn't share much with other species. They were private people. Then give me what you have. I'll figure out the rest. Minji shook her head. This isn't like fixing an engine, Jiwoo. This is a living being. A child. She needs constant care. Feeding every few hours. Diaper changes. Comfort. And we don't even know if human care will work for her. But we know stasis won't help her grow. Won't help her live. She'll be frozen like a museum piece. Jiwoo turned to face them. Her mother saved her from a war. She flew across space to keep her daughter alive. And now we're going to put her in a freezer because it's convenient? Silence filled the corridor. Inside the medical bay, Hana kept crying. Finally, Minji spoke. If you do this, you'll be responsible for her completely, day and night. It will change your entire life. I know, Jiwoo said. And if something goes wrong, I'll handle it. Daeho put a hand on Jiwoo's shoulder. Are you sure about this? Jiwoo thought about the Veltori woman lying in a coma. He thought about her desperate whisper. Please. He thought about his own mother who had raised him alone after his father died. She had worked 3 jobs to keep food on the table. She had sacrificed everything for him. She had taught him that family wasn't about blood. It was about who you chose to love. I'm sure, Jiwoo said. 2 hours later, he carried Hana into his quarters. The baby was still crying. She felt warm in his arms, warmer than a human baby should be. He had spent the time reading everything the ship's computer had about Veltori biology. It wasn't much, but it was something. Veltori came from a hot planet with red sun. They needed higher temperatures than humans. Their eyes saw different light wavelengths. Their food needed specific minerals that human food didn't have. Jiwoo had adjusted everything in his quarters. He had raised the temperature until sweat dripped down his back. He had changed the lights to a redder spectrum. He had programmed the food synthesizer with the proper mineral content. His small room now felt like a different planet. But Hana kept crying. He tried feeding her. She refused the bottle. He tried rocking her. She cried louder. He tried singing to her. She didn't care. For 3 days it continued. 3 days of crying and no sleep. 3 days of trying everything and failing. Jiwoo's eyes burned with exhaustion. His head pounded. He wanted to call Minji and admit he was wrong. Admit he couldn't do this. But every time he thought about giving up, he remembered that promise. He remembered Hana's mother trusting him. On the 4th night, Jiwoo sat in his chair with Hana in his arms. He was too tired to try anything else. Too tired to think. He just held her and let her cry. Then without planning it, he started humming. It was an old song. His mother used to sing it to him when he was sick or scared. He didn't remember all the words anymore. Just the melody. It was simple and sad and beautiful. He hummed it over and over. Slowly, Hana's crying got quieter. Her small body relaxed against his chest. Her strange, beautiful eyes looked up at him. For the first time since he had taken her, she wasn't fighting. She was listening. Jiwoo kept humming. He was afraid to stop. Afraid she would start crying again. But she didn't. Instead, her tiny hand reached up and grabbed his finger. Her grip was surprisingly strong. She held on tight like she was afraid he would disappear. It's okay, Jiwoo whispered. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Hana made a small sound. Not a cry. Something softer. Almost like a coo. Then her eyes slowly closed. She fell asleep in his arms, still holding his finger. Jiwoo didn't move. He barely breathed. He just sat there holding this tiny alien baby while she slept. His back hurt. His arms ached. But he didn't care. For the first time in 4 days, there was silence. Peaceful, perfect silence. He must have fallen asleep too, because the next thing he knew, someone was knocking on his door. Dawn light came through his window. Hana was still asleep against his chest. Daeho entered quietly. He looked at them and smiled. You did it. I didn't do anything, Jiwoo said softly. I just stopped trying so hard. That's something, Daeho said. He pulled out his medical scanner and checked Hana's vital signs. She's healthy. Better than yesterday, actually. Her stress levels are way down. Whatever you did, it worked. I just held her. Hummed to her. Sometimes that's all they need. Someone to be there. Daeho put his scanner away. I need to make a note in my medical log. About the bonding process. Bonding? It's what happens between a parent and child. When they start to connect, trust each other, it looks like it's beginning between you two. After Daeho left, Jiwoo looked down at Hana. She was still sleeping peacefully. Her face looked relaxed, content. In that moment, something changed inside him. This wasn't just a promise anymore. This wasn't just duty or obligation. He cared about her, really cared about her. This tiny alien baby had somehow found a way into his heart. "Okay, Hana," he whispered. "We'll figure this out together. You and me." Hana stirred in her sleep. Her hand squeezed his finger a little tighter. And Jiwoo knew deep in his bones that his life would never be the same again. He was a father now. Jiwoo walked through the ship's corridors with Hana riding on his shoulders. She laughed and grabbed at his hair. Other crew members smiled and waved at them. Everyone knew Jiwoo and his daughter now. "Appa," Hana squealed. "Go fast!" Jiwoo jogged a few steps and Hana laughed harder. Her laugh was the best sound in the universe. It made all the sleepless nights worth it. All the worry. All the fear. He had learned so much in 6 months. He knew that Hana needed her food warmed to exactly 38 degrees. He knew that she couldn't sleep if the room was too quiet, so he played soft music all night. He knew that she loved sweet foods but hated anything bitter. He knew that when she rubbed her eyes, she was tired. When she pulled her ear, she was hungry. When she grabbed his hand, she just wanted comfort. He had learned basic Velthori phrases from the ship's database. Bedtime songs, greetings, words of love. He practiced them until his human tongue could almost make the right sounds. Hana would giggle when he got them wrong, but she understood what he was trying to say. The ship had stopped at a neutral trading station for repairs. They had been orbiting here for 2 weeks. It felt good to be somewhere stable for a change. Jiwoo carried Hana to the cafeteria. It was breakfast time and the room was full. People called out greetings as they entered. "Morning, Jiwoo." "Morning, Hana." "How's the little one today?" Hana waved at everyone. She wasn't shy anymore. 6 months ago, she had been a terrified baby. Now she was a happy toddler who smiled at the whole world. They sat down at their usual table. Daeho joined them a minute later, carrying a tray of food. "She's getting big," Daeho said. "I know. I need to requisition bigger clothes for her again." Jiwoo helped Hana eat her breakfast. She tried to feed herself but made a mess. He didn't mind. He had gotten good at cleaning up messes. "How's her mother?" Jiwoo asked quietly. Daeho's smile faded. "The same. Stable but still in a coma. No signs of waking up." Every day, Jiwoo took Hana to visit her mother. They would sit beside the bed while Jiwoo talked. He told Yuna everything that was happening. He told her about Hana's first tooth, her first steps, her first word. That first word had surprised everyone. Hana had been playing with a toy. Jiwoo was fixing something across the room. Suddenly, she had looked up at him and said clear as day, "Appa," Dad, in Korean, in his language. Jiwoo had frozen. He had played her Velthori lullabies, taught her Velthori words, tried to keep her connected to her culture, but somehow she had chosen a human word. His word, "Appa," Hana had said again, reaching for him. And Jiwoo had started crying. Big, ugly, happy tears, because in that moment he realized the truth. This wasn't temporary anymore. This wasn't just a promise he was keeping. Hana was his daughter, really truly his daughter. Now sitting in the cafeteria, Hana finished her breakfast and tugged on his sleeve. "Appa si Yama?" Jiwoo's heart clenched. Hana had started calling Yuna Ioma, even though Yuna couldn't hear her. Even though Yuna had been asleep for Hana's entire remembered life. The little girl somehow understood that the woman in the medical bed was important. "Okay," Jiwoo said. "Let's go see Iyama." They walked to the medical bay. Hana held his hand and skipped beside him. She was getting better at walking. Soon she would be running everywhere. In the medical bay, Yuna lay exactly as she had for 6 months. Peaceful, still, unchanging. The machines beeped their steady rhythm. Jiwoo pulled up a chair and sat down with Hana in his lap. "Hi, Yuna, we're back again." Hana ate all her breakfast today. No fussing. She's getting so grown up. Hana reached toward her mother. She couldn't quite touch from where they sat, but she tried. "Iyama," she said softly. Jiwoo's throat got tight. He cleared it and continued. "She learned a new song yesterday. Want to hear it, Yuna?" "Hana, sing the song for Iyama." Hana sang in her small, sweet voice. It was a Velthori lullaby. She didn't get all the words right, but the melody was perfect. Jiwoo had played recordings of it every night until she memorized it. He wanted her to know her mother's culture, her mother's voice, even if it came from old recordings. After the song, Jiwoo talked about other things. Small things. The ship repairs. The trading station they were orbiting. The funny thing that happened in engineering yesterday. He talked like Yuna could hear every word, like she was part of their daily life, because in a way she was. He felt her presence every time he looked at Hana, every time he sang a Veltori song or made Veltori food. Yuna was in every part of their lives, even though she was asleep. They spent an hour there like they did every day. Then Jiwoo carried Hana back to their quarters for her nap. She fell asleep quickly, clutching her favorite toy. While Hana slept, Jiwoo checked his messages. One new message waited for him. The subject line made his blood run cold. Notice of custody transfer. His hands shook as he opened it. The message was from Minji. The Velthori government has been contacted. They are now willing to accept war orphans into their refugee programs. Hana qualifies. You have 2 weeks to prepare her for transfer. She will be relocated to a Velthori community, where she can be raised by her own people. Thank you for your temporary care of the child. Jiwoo read it 3 times. Then he closed his eyes and tried to breathe. 2 weeks. He had 2 weeks left with Hana. His mind understood the logic. Of course the Velthori should raise their own children. Of course Hana would be better off with her own people, learning her own culture, speaking her own language. But his heart didn't care about logic. His heart was breaking. He looked at Hana sleeping in her bed, her small chest rising and falling, her tiny hand curled under her chin. She trusted him completely. She loved him. He was her whole world. How could he explain to her that he was sending her away? How could he make her understand that it was for her own good? She was too young. She wouldn't understand. She would just know that Appa was gone. That night Jiwoo couldn't sleep. He sat in his chair and watched Hana. He memorized everything. The way her nose wrinkled when she dreamed. The soft sounds she made. The particular shade of blue in her skin. Daeho visited the next morning. He had read the message too. I'm sorry, Daeho said. It's what's best for her, Jiwoo said. His voice was flat, empty. Is it? She should be with her own kind. Learning her own culture. I've done my best, but I'm not Velthori. I can't teach her everything she needs to know. You've taught her love, Daeho said quietly. You've taught her safety, happiness. Those things don't have a species. It doesn't matter. The decision is made. But that night, lying in bed, Jiwoo made his own decision. He got up and went to his computer. He pulled up the colonial administration forms. And he started filling out adoption papers. He knew it was a long shot. Interspecies adoption was rare. The laws were complicated. The approval process took months. He would probably be denied, but he had to try. He couldn't just let Hana go without fighting for her. Even if he lost, even if they took her anyway, he needed to try. Because Hana wasn't just a promise anymore. She wasn't just a duty. She was his daughter. And fathers don't give up on their children. He filled out every form, answered every question, wrote a long statement explaining why he should be allowed to keep her. He talked about the past 6 months, about the bond they had formed, about how he had learned Velthori culture to teach her, about how Hana called him Appa and sang Velthori songs and was growing up loved and happy. When he finished, the sun was rising. Hana would wake up soon. He submitted the forms and hoped. 2 days later, he got a response. His application had been received. It would be reviewed. But there was a problem. The Velthori government had already claimed Hana. They had legal custody rights. His application was likely to be denied. Jiwoo read the message and felt his hope die. He had tried. He had failed. In 12 days, Hana would be taken away, and there was nothing he could do about it. That night, he held Hana extra close. He sang her every Velthori song he knew. He told her stories about her mother. He tried to pour 6 months of love into every moment. I'm sorry, he whispered when she was asleep. I'm so sorry. He didn't know that in the medical bay something was changing. Yuna's heart rate was increasing. Her brain activity was spiking. The machines were beeping faster. And for the first time in 6 months, her eyes were starting to open. The call came at 3 in the morning. Jiwoo woke instantly, his heart pounding. Emergency calls at this hour meant something bad. Really bad. Jiwoo, get to medical bay now. It was Daeho's voice. What happened? Is it Hana? No, it's Yuna. She's awake. Jiwoo's mind went blank for a second. Then he moved fast. He dressed quickly and gently lifted Hana from her bed. She mumbled in her sleep but didn't wake up. He wrapped her in a blanket and ran to the medical bay. The corridor lights were too bright. His eyes hadn't adjusted yet. He moved through the ship like he was in a dream. After 6 months of waiting, Yuna was finally awake. Hana's mother, the woman who had trusted him with her child. In the medical bay, machines surrounded Yuna's bed. Medical staff checked screens and took readings. Daeho stood at her bedside. When he saw Jiwoo, he waved him over. Yuna sat up in the bed. She looked weak and confused. Her large dark eyes moved around the room, trying to understand where she was. Then she spoke. Her voice was rough from months of silence. "Hana, where is Hana?" She tried to get out of bed. The medical staff stopped her gently. She pushed against them, panic rising in her voice. "My daughter. Where is my daughter?" "She's safe," Daeho said quickly. "She's here." Jiwoo brought her. Yuna's eyes locked onto Jiwoo. She saw him holding a sleeping child. For a moment, she froze. Then her face changed. Relief, joy, fear, all mixed together. "Hana," she whispered. Jiwoo walked forward slowly. He didn't want to scare her, or wake Hana too suddenly. "She's okay. She's healthy. I've been taking care of her." Yuna reached out with shaking hands. Jiwoo came closer, ready to place Hana in her mother's arms. But as he got near, Hana woke up. She blinked sleepily and looked around. Her eyes found Jiwoo's face first. "Appa?" she said, confused. Then she saw Yuna, saw this stranger reaching for her, and Hana did something that broke everyone's heart. She screamed. Not a normal cry. A terrified scream. She grabbed onto Jiwoo's shirt and buried her face against his chest. Her small body shook. "Appa, Appa!" Yuna's hands dropped. The expression on her face was pure pain. Jiwoo saw her eyes fill with tears. She understood immediately. Her daughter didn't know her. After 6 months apart, Hana didn't recognize her own mother. "I'm sorry," Jiwoo said. He felt terrible. He rocked Hana gently, trying to calm her. "Hana, it's okay. This is Yoriyama, remember? We visit her every day." But Hana wouldn't look. She kept her face hidden and cried. "No, Appa!" "Go home." Yuna pulled her hands back. She pressed them against her mouth. Tears ran down her face. She said something in Velthori. Jiwoo didn't know all the words, but he understood the feeling. Grief, loss, the pain of being forgotten by your own child. Daeho stepped in. "Let's give everyone some time. Yuna, you need to rest. You've been in a coma for 6 months. Your body needs to recover." 6 months? Yuna's voice was barely a whisper. She stared at Hana. She was a baby. Now she's a toddler, Jiwoo finished. "She's 13 months old now." Yuna closed her eyes. More tears fell. "I missed everything." Jiwoo didn't know what to say. Daeho motioned for him to leave. Jiwoo nodded and carried the still crying Hana out of the medical bay. In the corridor, he held her close and whispered comfort. "It's okay. You're safe. Appa's here." Slowly, Hana calmed down. She looked up at him with wet eyes. "Appa stay?" "Always," Jiwoo promised. "I'll always stay." He took her back to their quarters and held her until she fell asleep again. But Jiwoo couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Yuna's face, about the pain in her eyes when Hana rejected her. The next morning, Minji came to visit. She looked serious. "We have a situation." "I know," Jiwoo said. "Yuna's awake." "Yes, and she's been informed about the custody transfer. The Velthori government wants Hana. They're sending a representative. He'll be here in 5 days. 5 days. Not 2 weeks anymore. 5 days until Hana would be taken away. I also saw your adoption application," Minji continued. "Jiwoo, you must know it won't be approved. Not now that Yuna is awake." "Yuna is her mother." "I understand. Do you? Because I need you to prepare Hana for this transition. She needs to start bonding with Yuna. Start understanding that Yuna is her mother." Jiwoo nodded slowly. It made sense. It was logical. But inside, his heart was screaming. That afternoon, he took Hana back to the medical bay. Yuna was sitting up, looking stronger. When she saw them, hope and fear crossed her face. "Hi," Jiwoo said. "We thought we'd visit." Hana hid behind Jiwoo's leg. She peeked out at Yuna but didn't come closer. Yuna tried to smile. "Hello, Hana." Silence. Awkward and painful. Jiwoo knelt down next to Hana. "Remember what I told you? This is Yoriyama. She loves you very much. She's been sleeping for a long time, but now she's awake." "Why sleeping?" Hana asked quietly. She was hurt. "But she's better now. Don't you want to say hello?" Hana looked at Yuna, then back at Jiwoo. Then she shook her head and hid again. Yuna's face fell. Jiwoo felt awful. He wanted to help, but he didn't know how. How do you make a child love someone they don't remember? Maybe I can tell you about Hana? Jiwoo offered. All the things that happened while you were asleep? Yuna nodded. Please. So Jiwoo talked. He told Yuna everything. About the first night when Hana wouldn't stop crying. About learning to make Velthori food. About teaching her to walk. Her first word. Her favorite songs. The way she laughed when he made funny faces. The way she couldn't sleep without music. As he talked, Yuna listened. She cried quietly. Every story was a reminder of what she had missed. Every milestone had happened without her. But she also watched how Jiwoo handled Hana. How gentle he was. How patient. How Hana trusted him completely. And slowly Yuna's tears changed from sadness to something else. Something like wonder. You learned Velthori songs? Yuna asked. I wanted her to know your culture. It's part of who she is. You kept her connected to her people? I tried. The ship's database had some information. I know it's not the same as real Velthori teaching, but... No, Yuna interrupted. It's more than I could have hoped for. I thought she would forget everything. Forget me, forget her people, but you remembered for her. Jiwoo looked down at Hana. She had relaxed a little during his talking. She wasn't hiding anymore. Just standing close to him. Can you sing one of the songs? Yuna asked softly. Jiwoo felt embarrassed. His pronunciation was terrible. But he nodded. He started singing a Velthori lullaby. His accent was all wrong. He stumbled over some words. But he sang it the way he had sung it to Hana every night for 6 months. And Hana joined in. Her small voice singing with his. Perfect pronunciation. Perfect melody. Yuna started crying again. But this time she was smiling too. Her accent is perfect. You taught her correctly. I practiced a lot, Jiwoo admitted.
Why? Yuna asked.
Why did you do all this? You could have just kept her alive, fed her. That would have been enough. But you did so much more. Jiwoo thought about how to answer. When you grabbed my hand that first day, you said, please, count just that one word. But I understood. You were asking me to protect her, to keep her safe, to love her. And I promised I would. You promised a dying woman, Yuna said. I promised a mother. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Hana did something unexpected. She walked away from Jiwoo. 3 small steps toward Yuna. She stopped at the edge of the bed and looked up at her mother with serious eyes. Iyama, Hana said. She pulled something from her pocket. A small toy. She held it up to Yuna. It was an offering. A child's way of making peace. Yuna took the toy with shaking hands. Thank you, Hana. Hana smiled. Just a little. Then she ran back to Jiwoo. It was a small moment, but it was a beginning. Yuna was released from the medical bay 3 days later. Minji arranged temporary quarters for her. They were small but comfortable. Yuna stood in the doorway and looked around at the empty room. Everything was so different from what she remembered. Different from her home world that no longer existed. Daeho came to check on her. He ran his medical scanner and nodded. You're recovering well. Your body is responding to treatment. How long before I'm fully healthy? Yuna asked. Another week. Maybe 2. You'll be weak for a while, but you'll get stronger every day. After he left, Yuna sat on the bed. She felt lost. She had woken up to a new reality. Her world was gone. Her mate was dead. Her daughter didn't know her. She was alone on a human ship, surrounded by aliens who spoke a strange language and followed strange customs. But they had saved her life. And more importantly, they had saved Hana. A knock on her door. She opened it to find Jiwoo standing there. Hana held his hand. The little girl peeked out from behind his leg. Hi, Jiwoo said. We thought you might want company. And maybe dinner? I can show you how the food synthesizer works. Yuna wanted to say no. Wanted to be alone with her grief. But she looked at Hana and nodded. Okay. Jiwoo came in and showed her the controls. It can make almost anything. Even Velthori food. I programmed it with traditional recipes. Well, as traditional as I could figure out from the database. He made food for all 3 of them. When he served Yuna her plate, she stared at it. This is Nala stew. My mother used to make this. Is it close to the real thing? Jiwoo asked nervously. Yuna took a bite. It wasn't perfect. Some spices were wrong. but it was close enough to bring tears to her eyes. How did you? I wanted Hana to eat food from her culture. I tried a lot of recipes. This one seemed to make her happiest. They ate together quietly. Hana sat between them, chattering about her day. She talked to Jiwoo mostly, but sometimes she glanced at Yuna. Small steps. Little moments of connection. After dinner, Jiwoo started to leave. But Yuna stopped him. Can you stay? Just a little longer? I want to understand. Understand what? How you did this. How you raised my daughter. So Jiwoo stayed. He told her about their daily routine. Wake up at 7, breakfast, playtime. Learning time, lunch, nap, more play, dinner, bath, bedtime stories. The same pattern every day, stable, safe, predictable. She likes routine, Jiwoo explained. It makes her feel secure. What does she like to play? Building blocks, music, she loves dancing. And she likes books, even though she can't read yet. I show her the pictures and tell her stories. What kind of stories? Human stories. And Velthori stories. I found recordings of traditional Velthori tales in the database. We listened to them together. Yuna felt something warm in her chest. This human had done so much. Had cared so much. Why? She asked again. You don't owe us anything. We're strangers. Different species. Yet you changed your whole life for my daughter. Jiwoo looked at Hana. She had fallen asleep on the couch, tired from her busy day. I don't think I can explain it, he said quietly. The first time I held her, something just clicked. She needed someone. I could be that someone. It felt right. Humans are strange, Yuna said. But she was smiling. Yeah, I guess we are. Over the next few days, Yuna watched them. She stayed back, observing. She saw Jiwoo wake up early to prepare Hana's special breakfast. Saw him patiently clean up when she made messes. Saw him comfort her when she was upset. He never got angry. Never frustrated. He just loved her. Yuna saw Hana trust him completely. When she was scared, she ran to Jiwoo. When she was happy, she wanted to share it with him. When she was tired, she curled up in his arms. He was her whole world. One morning, Yuna joined them for breakfast. Hana was learning to use utensils. She dropped food everywhere. Jiwoo just laughed and helped her. You're patient, Yuna observed. She's learning. Everyone makes mistakes when they learn. Velthori parents are not usually this patient. We expect children to learn quickly. To be strong. She's strong, Jiwoo said. She survived a war. Lost her home. Lost her father. She's the strongest person I know. She just needs time to grow. Yuna felt something shift inside her. She realized that Jiwoo saw Hana differently than she did. To Yuna, Hana was her child. Her responsibility. A part of her that had been lost. But to Jiwoo, Hana was her own person. Worthy of respect. Worthy of patience. Worthy of love, not because of what she was, but because of who she was. My people believe that children belong to their parents, Yuna said slowly. That parents own their children until they are grown. What do you believe? Jiwoo asked. Yuna watched Hana laugh at something silly. I'm starting to think differently. That afternoon, Daeho invited Yuna to his office. He wanted to explain something. I need you to understand what happened with Jiwoo and Hana. Humans form bonds with children very easily. Even children who aren't biologically theirs. It's part of our evolution. We're social creatures. We take care of any child who needs help. So this is normal for humans? Yuna asked. Adopting children? Yes, very normal. Jiwoo is unusual in how far he went. Learning your language, your culture, your traditions. Most people wouldn't have tried so hard. But the love he has for Hana, that's very human. Velthori don't adopt, Yuna admitted. We believe only blood family can truly love a child. Do you still believe that? Daeho asked gently. Yuna thought about it. About watching Jiwoo with Hana. About seeing the bond between them. No, she said finally. I don't. The next day, Yuna asked to spend time alone with Hana. Jiwoo hesitated. She might get upset. I know. But I need to try. Jiwoo agreed. He brought Hana to Yuna's quarters and then left. For the first time, Yuna and her daughter were alone together. At first, Hana was scared. She kept looking at the door, waiting for Jiwoo. But Yuna pulled out something she had made. A small toy in the shape of a traditional Velthori animal. Do you know what this is? Yuna asked in Velthori. Hana's eyes went wide. She understood the language. Jiwoo had taught her. Kima, she said excitedly. Yes, a Kima. They lived on our homeworld. I saw them when I was young. Pretty, Hana said. She came closer to look at the toy. Yuna told her stories about Kimas, about how they ran fast and played in the sun. Hana listened, fascinated. She sat down next to Yuna, not touching but close. When Jiwoo came back an hour later, he found them sitting together. Hana was showing Yuna her other toys. They were talking in a mix of Velthori and Standard. Both laughing, Yuna looked up at Jiwoo. Her eyes were wet with happy tears. Thank you, she mouthed silently. That night after Jiwoo took Hana home, Yuna sat in her quarters and cried. But they weren't sad tears anymore. They were grateful tears. Her daughter was alive, healthy, happy. She spoke Velthori, knew Velthori songs, understood Velthori traditions, all because a human man had cared enough to learn, had loved enough to try. Yuna thought about the Velthori representative coming tomorrow, about taking Hana back to Velthori space, about raising her daughter in refugee camps with other survivors of the war. She thought about Hana's face when she looked at Jiwoo. The trust, the love, the security. And Yuna realized something that terrified her, something that went against everything she had been taught, every belief she had held. Hana belonged with Jiwoo, not because Yuna didn't love her, but because Jiwoo had become her father in every way that mattered. Taking Hana away from him would break both their hearts. But there was another problem. If Hana stayed with Jiwoo, where did that leave Yuna? She couldn't go back to Velthori space alone. She had nothing there, no family. No home, nothing. Her daughter was here, with this strange, kind human who had saved them both. Yuna made a decision. It was crazy. It went against all Velthori customs. Her people would be ashamed. But she didn't care. She had a question to ask. And tomorrow, when the representative arrived, she would ask it. If Jiwoo was brave enough to love her daughter, maybe Yuna could be brave too. The Velthori representative arrived at noon. His name was Kale. He was tall and imposing with the classic warrior build of his species. His face was hard. His eyes were cold. He looked at the humans around him with barely hidden disgust. Minji met him at the docking bay with Yuna. Kale barely glanced at Yuna before speaking. Where is the child? Safe, Minji said calmly. We need to discuss the transfer process first. There is nothing to discuss. The child is Velthori. She belongs with her people. I will take her today. That's not how this works, Minji said. There are legal procedures, documents, health checks. Kale's expression darkened. I don't care about your human laws. That child should never have been placed with humans. It's an insult to our species. Yuna finally spoke. That human saved my daughter's life. Kale turned to her. You should be ashamed. Letting an inferior species raise your child. Speaking their language. Adopting their ways. Have you forgotten who you are? No, Yuna said quietly. I remember exactly who I am. Do you remember? We lost the war, Kale. Our world is gone. Our people are scattered. We're refugees, survivors. We're not warriors anymore. We're just people trying to live. We are still Velthori. Kale's voice rose. We have pride, honor. We don't let others raise our children. Even when those others do it better than we could? Silence. Kyle stared at her like she had slapped him. You've been poisoned by living with humans. I'll report this. You'll be— I don't care, Yuna interrupted. Report whatever you want. I need 24 hours before you take Hana. Just one day. Then I'll make my decision. Your decision? Kyle laughed bitterly. You have no choice. The council has decided. The child comes with me. Then I'll fight it. I'm her mother. I have rights. You abandoned those rights when you let a human raise her for 6 months. I was in a coma. Minji stepped between them. Everyone calm down. Kale, Yuna is correct. As the mother, she has legal rights. You can't just take Hana without proper process. I'm giving you both 24 hours to sort this out. Tomorrow at noon we'll meet again and finalize the arrangements. Kyle looked furious, but he nodded stiffly. 24 hours. Then I'm leaving with the child. With or without permission. He turned and walked away. His heavy footsteps echoed down the corridor. Yuna felt her legs go weak. Minji caught her arm. Are you okay? I don't know. I need to see Hana and Jiwoo. They found them in the observation deck. Jiwoo was pointing out stars to Hana. She sat on his shoulders, laughing and reaching for the distant lights. That one is blue. Can you say blue? Boo, Hana said. Close enough. And that one is red. Red, Hana said perfectly. Yuna watched them. Her heart hurt in a way she couldn't explain. Good hurt, bad hurt, all mixed together. Jiwoo saw her and smiled. But the smile faded when he saw her face. What happened? The representative is here. He wants to take Hana today. Jiwoo's arms tightened around Hana. Today? But I got us 24 hours. That's all? Jiwoo lifted Hana down from his shoulders. He held her close. Okay, then we make today count. They spent the day together. All three of them. They went to the biodome and showed Hana the plants. They went to the cafeteria and ate her favorite foods. They went back to Jiwoo's quarters and played her favorite games. Hana didn't understand that anything was wrong. She was just happy. Happy to be with both her parents. Because that's what they had become. Parents, plural. At dinner, Hana did something new. When Jiwoo gave her food, she offered some to Yuna. Iyama eat, she said. In Veltori culture, sharing food was deeply significant. It meant trust, acceptance, family. Yuna's hands shook as she took the food. Thank you, Hana. After dinner, Jiwoo ran Hana's bath. Yuna helped. They worked together like they had done this for years. Jiwoo washed while Yuna played with Hana, making her laugh. Then they dried her off and put her in pajamas. Story time, Hana announced. What story do you want? Jiwoo asked. Both stories. Jiwoo looked at Yuna. She means a human story and a Velthori story. We usually do one of each. I can tell the Velthori story, Yuna offered. They sat on either side of Hana's bed. Jiwoo told her a story about a brave rabbit. Yuna told her a story about a clever Kima. Hana's eyes got heavy. She yawned. Sleepy, she said. Time for bed, Jiwoo agreed. He started to sing her usual lullaby. But Yuna joined in. Their voices blended. Human and Velthori, two cultures, one song. Hana smiled as she drifted off to sleep. When she was asleep, Jiwoo and Yuna stayed sitting there. Neither wanted to move. Neither wanted this moment to end. Finally, Jiwoo spoke. His voice was rough with emotion. I don't know how to let her go. I know, Yuna said. I'm sorry. She's your daughter. You should be the one raising her. I know that. I understand that. But you love her. Yes. Jiwoo's eyes were wet. I love her so much it hurts. These 6 months have been the best and hardest of my life. I've never felt anything like this. This fear, this joy, this overwhelming need to protect her. To make her happy. To watch her grow. That's what being a parent feels like, Yuna said softly. Is it? Yes, they sat in silence, watching Hana sleep, both of them memorizing this moment. Then Yuna spoke. Among my people there is an old practice. From before the war, before everything changed. Jiwoo waited. When a warrior died in battle, their mate was left alone. Often with children. No support, no help. So sometimes another warrior would offer to take them in. Create a new family unit. It wasn't romantic. It was practical, survival. But sometimes it became real family, real love. I didn't know that, Jiwoo said. Most people don't, it's old tradition. Not practiced much anymore. But it exists. Yuna took a deep breath. My mate died defending our world. I have no family left, no home, no place in Velthori society anymore. Yuna, please, let me finish. I've been watching you with Hana. Watching how you care for her. How patient you are, how kind. How you learned our language. Our traditions. You've given her everything I couldn't. You've been the father she needed. I'm not her father, Jiwoo said. You're her mother. You are her father, Yuna said firmly. In every way that matters. Biology doesn't make a parent. Love does. Sacrifice does. You've given her both. Jiwoo didn't know what to say. Yuna continued. If I take her to Velthori space, we'll be in refugee camps. No stability, no safety. I have no money. No resources. I'd be raising her alone in poverty and chaos. She would survive. But would she be happy? Would she thrive? I could send money, support, whatever you need. That's not the point. The point is that she's happy here. With you and I. Yuna's voice broke. I have nothing to offer her. Nothing except blood. You're her mother. That's everything. But I'm a stranger to her. You're her world, her security, her home. Yuna was crying now. When she's scared, she runs to you. When she's happy, she wants to share it with you. When she's tired, she wants you to hold her. You're her appa, her dad. Jiwoo was crying too. What are you saying? Yuna looked at him. Really looked at him. This strange, wonderful human who had saved both their lives. Who had loved her daughter when he didn't have to. Who had learned to speak Velthori and sing Velthori songs and cook Velthori food. All for a child who wasn't his. I'm saying that you've given my daughter a father. You've given her a home. You've given her love and safety and happiness. Everything a parent should give. Yuna's voice was shaking. And I have nowhere else to go, no family, no future, just nothing. I don't understand. I'm asking, Yuna said, forcing the words out. If I could join your family too, if you would let me stay, help raise Hana together, be a family, both of us, both parents. Jiwoo stared at her. His mouth opened but no sound came out. Yuna misread his silence as rejection. I'm sorry. That was inappropriate. I shouldn't have asked. You have your own life, your own plans. You don't need... Yes, Jiwoo said. Yuna stopped talking. What? Yes, I would be honored. You would? I've been so scared of losing Hana, of saying goodbye to her tomorrow. I've been trying to be strong, to accept it. But inside I've been breaking. Jiwoo looked at Hana sleeping peacefully between them. If you stay, if we raise her together, then she doesn't lose anyone. She gets both parents, both cultures, both worlds. You don't have to do this out of pity, Yuna said quickly. If you're just... I'm not, I mean it. These past weeks, watching you with Hana, watching her learn to love you too, it felt right. It felt like we were becoming something. A unit. A family. A family, Yuna repeated. The word felt strange and wonderful. We'll figure it out, Jiwoo said. The details. The logistics. How to make it work. But if you want to stay, I want you to stay. For Hana. And for you. They looked at each other across Hana's bed. Two different species. Two different cultures. Two different worlds brought together by one small child. Tomorrow, Yuna said, when Kale comes, we'll tell him together. Tell him that Hana stays here. With both of us. He won't like it. I don't care. Let him report me. Let him shame me. I'm making this choice. For Hana, for us, for family. Jiwoo reached across and took Yuna's hand. Family, he agreed. They sat there late into the night, holding hands over their sleeping daughter, making silent promises for tomorrow and all the tomorrows after that. 3 months had passed since that day. 3 months since they had stood before Judge Eunji in the family court. 3 months since everything changed. Jiwoo remembered that day clearly, walking into the courtroom with Yuna beside him and Hana in his arms. The judge had looked stern but fair. Kale had been there too, angry and ready to fight. The hearing had started badly. Kale had stood and spoken first. His voice was loud and filled with righteous anger. This is a violation of Velthori sovereignty. The child is Velthori. She must be raised by Velthori. To allow a human to keep her is an insult to our entire species. Judge Eunji had listened calmly. Then she had turned to Yuna. And what does the mother say? Yuna had stood. Her legs were shaking, but her voice was strong. I say that my daughter has already been raised by this human. For 6 months while I was unconscious, Jiwoo cared for her. He learned my language so she wouldn't forget it. He learned my culture so she would know where she came from. He sang her our songs and told her our stories. He loved her like his own. So you believe the child should stay with him? No, Yuna had said. Everyone had looked surprised. Even Jiwoo. But then Yuna had continued. I believe the child should stay with us. Both of us together. Kyle had exploded. Impossible. You can't form a family unit with a human. It goes against everything we believe. Maybe what we believed was wrong, Yuna had said quietly. Maybe that's why we lost the war. Because we were too proud, too rigid, too afraid of change. The judge had raised her hand for silence. Let me understand. You want to form a co-parenting arrangement? You and Jiwoo would both have custody? Yes, Yuna had said. And you, Jiwoo? You agree to this? Jiwoo had looked at Hana in his arms, then at Yuna standing beside him. Yes, I agree. This is outrageous. Kale had shouted. I demand you deny this request. The child must... Judge Eunji had cut him off. You demand? Ambassador Kale, you're in a human court. You don't demand anything here. Her voice had been ice cold. Now sit down and be quiet or I'll have you removed. Kyle had sat, but his face was furious. The judge had called them to testify. Yuna had gone first. She had talked about waking up and seeing her daughter healthy and happy, about watching Jiwoo care for Hana with endless patience, about learning that love wasn't limited by species or biology. When I asked to join their family, Yuna had said, her voice shaking with emotion, it wasn't because I'm weak. It was because I recognized something strong, something worth protecting. Jiwoo gave my daughter everything I couldn't, and instead of being jealous or angry, I was grateful. Because my daughter was loved. Really, truly loved. And isn't that what every parent wants? Then it was Jiwoo's turn. He had talked about the first night Hana had stopped crying, about learning Velthori words and making Velthori food, about wanting Hana to know both her heritages, both cultures, both worlds. I'm not trying to replace Yuna, Jiwoo had said. I could never replace her. She's Hana's mother. That's sacred. But I love Hana too, and I believe we can both love her. Both raise her. Together. The judge had listened to everything. Then she had done something unusual. She had asked to see Hana. Minji had brought Hana into the courtroom. The little girl had looked around with wide eyes. So many people. So serious. She had started to look scared. Judge Yoonji had smiled at her. Hello, Hana, don't be afraid. I just want to ask you something. Can you show me your family? Hana had looked confused. She was too young to understand complicated questions. But she understood the word family. She had pointed at Jiwoo. Appa. Then she had pointed at Yuna. Iyama. Both of them? The judge had asked gently. Both, Hana had said firmly. My family. The judge had nodded slowly. Then she had looked at Kyle. Do you have anything else to say? Kale had stood. His face was hard. The child doesn't understand. She's too young. She's been influenced by living with humans. Given time with her own people, she would forget this human and remember her true heritage. Her true heritage, the judge had repeated. Tell me, Ambassador, if Hana goes with you, where will she live? In a refugee camp, with other Velthori survivors. And what kind of life would she have there? Kale had hesitated. It would be adequate, basic, but she would be with her own kind. Basic, so she would have food and shelter. But what about education? Stability, love. She would be loved by her people. Would she? Judge Yoonji had leaned forward. Or would she be another orphan in an overcrowded camp? Another mouth to feed? Another responsibility? Be honest, Ambassador. Your people are struggling. You're refugees. You have limited resources. What kind of childhood would Hana really have? Kale had said nothing, because they both knew the answer. The judge had turned back to Jiwoo and Yuna. And if she stays here, what kind of life would she have? Jiwoo had spoken. She would have two parents who love her. A stable home, education, safety. She would learn human culture and Velthori culture. She would know both languages. Both traditions. She would be part of both worlds. And you, Yuna, you're willing to give up your people? Your culture? To stay here with humans? I'm not giving up my culture, Yuna had said. I'm sharing it. Teaching it to my daughter. Helping her understand where she comes from. But I'm also learning new things. Human things. There's beauty in both worlds. Why should Hana have to choose just one? Judge Yoonji had been quiet for a long moment. Then she had made her decision. I'm granting custody to both Jiwoo and Yuna. They will form a recognized family unit. Hana will be raised by both parents. I'm also granting Yuna refugee status on this ship. She may stay as long as she wishes. Kale had stood up furious. This is illegal.
I'll appeal.
I'll report it to whoever you want, the judge had said calmly. But my decision stands. This child has two parents who love her. She's happy. She's healthy. She's thriving. I won't take her from that just because it makes you uncomfortable. She had looked at him with something like pity. Your people lost the war, Ambassador. You lost your world. Don't lose your humanity, too. Don't let pride destroy what little you have left. Kale had left the courtroom, angry and defeated. Jiwoo had heard later that he had filed complaints, made angry reports, but nothing had changed. The decision was final. Now 3 months later, Jiwoo stood in their new quarters, bigger than his old room. Enough space for all three of them. Yuna was in the kitchen area preparing dinner. Hana was playing on the floor with her toys. Appa, look! Hana held up a drawing. It was messy and colorful. 3 stick figures. What is it? Jiwoo asked, kneeling down. Family, Hana said proudly. That's me. That's Appa, that's Yama. Jiwoo felt his throat get tight. He picked up the drawing and looked at it carefully. 3 figures holding hands. It's beautiful. Should we put it on the wall? Hana nodded excitedly. Jiwoo found some tape and hung the drawing where everyone could see it. Their first family portrait. Yuna came over, wiping her hands on a towel. She looked at the drawing and smiled. We should take a real picture too, for Hana's album. They had started making an album for Hana, pictures of her growing up, stories about her life. They wanted her to remember everything, where she came from, how she got here, who loved her. Dinner is ready, Yuna announced. They sat down together. It had become their routine, dinner together every night, talking about their days, sharing stories, being a family. Hana chattered about what she had learned that day. She was attending the ship's children's program now, learning with other kids her age, making friends. I taught Minho a Veltori song today, Hana said. He liked it. Which song? Yuna asked. The one about the stars. The pretty one. That's my favorite, Yuna said softly. After dinner, Jiwoo cleaned up while Yuna gave Hana her bath. He could hear them laughing in the other room. Water splashing. Hana singing. It was a good sound. A happy sound. Later, they both put Hana to bed. It was their routine now. Both parents together. Jiwoo told a human story. Yuna told a Velthori story. Then they sang together, their voices blending, different but harmonious. When Hana was asleep, they went to the living area. Yuna made tea. They sat together on the couch, tired but content. I got a message today, Yuna said. From the Velthori Council. Jiwoo tensed. What did they say? They've officially disowned me. I'm no longer considered Velthori in their records. I'm an outcast. I'm sorry, Jiwoo said. Don't be. I expected it. Kale filed his reports. Told them I chose humans over my own people. They made their decision. Yuna sipped her tea. I'm okay with it. Are you really? Yuna was quiet for a moment. I used to think that being Velthori was everything. That my identity was tied to my species, my culture, my people. But now I realize that identity is more than that. I'm Velthori, yes, but I'm also Hana's mother. I'm also part of this family. Those things matter more than what some council thinks of me. You're brave, Jiwoo said. So are you. You took in a stranger's child, changed your entire life, learned a new language, new customs, all for a baby who wasn't yours. She is mine, Jiwoo said. Maybe not by blood, but by choice, by love. That's what makes it real, Yuna agreed. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Outside their window, stars moved slowly past. The ship was traveling again, moving toward the next station. The next destination. I've been thinking, Yuna said, about what we're teaching Hana about both cultures.